We'd like to welcome everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Grantsville City Council. For the record, today's date is November 17, 2025, and the time is 7 p.m. This meeting is being held at the Grantsville City offices located at 429 East Main Street, Grantsville, Utah, and on Zoom. I'm Mayor Neil Critchlow, and all council members are present. Will you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Dwight. Our first order of business is public comment. Anybody that would like to have some public comment, you have 3 minutes. And Shelby, will you keep track of the 3 minutes for me?
Yes.
Hello, it's Rick Barchers again, ghost from the past. I watched the last city council meeting, and there's a couple things that I would like to point out and thank you guys for, particularly you for reading USGS reports. It's kind of a big deal to me personally. And Jolene, you pointed out that we would be selling city assets with no determined reason to have the money, right? Water shares or water credits are an appreciating asset. They're not going to lose value, okay? Anyone who's bought or been involved in development in this valley knows that they're hard to come by. How many times have you guys heard a developer come in and say, I'm having trouble finding water. You need to fix this. I can think of at least 2, right? So the VT Colorado group is wanting to buy the city's assets. Maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not. Why are you selling it? Do you have a list of things that we were wanting to buy? I'm trying to imagine that if I had enough extra money in the bank, I went to my wife and said, hey, how you doing? What do you want? Oh, I think it'd be nice to have this, nice to have that, nice to have the other thing. Oh, okay. So I go to the bank and withdraw $20,000 without telling her what color it's going to be when I buy it or what I was spending the money on. I mean, that doesn't make sense. Okay. Has there been an assessment of what the city's water needs are going to be in the future, 20, 30 years from now? Do you know what those water needs are going to be? A once in a generation opportunity? I don't think so. I think that if you announce that the city is going to be selling water credits, you'd have a line out the door with more people in it than we've got developers building houses in Grantsville right now. I think that's a fact. So don't enter into an agreement out of ignorance. As a citizen, I want to know why we were advertising on our website that we're interested in buying water shares not very long ago, and now we're selling them. So you're using my money to buy water shares to sell them to this developer? It doesn't seem right to me. As a citizen, I want to know the answers to some of those questions, at least some of them. That would be great. Time is up.
Thanks, Rick. Okay, anybody else want to have a opportunity for public comment?
Good evening. I think this matter is even more important after what we saw at the work session. Thank you for the opportunity. Oh, sorry, Derek Dalton. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Let's cut to the heart of the matter. This project is being sold to us as a financial windfall, but it comes at a hidden cost, and that cost is our city's future. Grantsville currently has 2,280 acre feet of uncommitted water available. that's on this list. This developer is asking for 1,466 acre feet of that. That is a finite precious resource. Once it's promised to this development, it's gone. No amount of potential revenue can replace it. Approving this now is not just risky, it is reckless. And let's be clear, the financial benefit is one-sided. The developer has stated publicly that they had secured water during this whole process and it was going to cost them $80 million. That deal allows them to bypass that investment almost entirely, saving them millions of dollars, while the city assumes the risk and responsibility. In essence, we are being asked to shoulder the burden so that someone else profits enormously. This is not good policy. It is not fair and it is not responsible leadership. Beyond the immediate numbers, we need to think about the long-term consequences. Committing our limited water to a massive development without a clear plan for sustainability sets a dangerous precedent. It sends a signal that we are willing to gamble with the very resources that sustain our community for the short-term gain. This is not a vision we should have for Grantsville. We must ask ourselves, at what cost are we willing to make money? Are we willing to sacrifice our water security, overextend city services, and put future residents at risk, all for the promise of a quick financial return? The answer should be clear. The responsible course is to say no. In conclusion, this is more than just a project. It is a test of our judgment, our priorities, and our commitment to the people of Grantsville. Approving it may look profitable on paper, but in reality, it jeopardizes the very foundation of our community. I urge the council to put the residents first, protect our limited water resources, and reject this agreement. Our future depends on it. Thank you.
Okay, Tyson, will you read that? We received a public comment.
Yes, Mayor, Tyson Barker, City Attorney for Grantsville City. This is not the comment of the City Attorney. It's a comment received by members of the City Council from Carly Hill, purported resident of the community. It stated, quote, "Mayor and City Council members, I am unable to attend tonight's rescheduled meeting, but I am submitting my public comment beforehand for inclusion in the official record for this evening's agenda. Please add the following statement to the minutes. Over the last week, I arranged a meeting with a representative involved in the Deseret/Highlands development to ask questions about water rights, infrastructure, and long-term impacts. I was not able to attend the meeting, but feel discussions of this scale and consequence belong in public, on the record, not in private conversations. This proposal for up to 7,000 homes could potentially triple the population of Grantsville. That level of growth brings significant and unavoidable impacts. Bulleted points below, thousands of additional vehicles on SR 138 and Main Street, increased pressure on sewer, water, and stormwater systems. Greater demands on police, fire, and EMS staffing, school overcrowding, and long-term financial impacts on taxpayers and longtime residents. Despite the scale of this development, there is no verified public documentation of the water right certificate numbers originally claimed for this project, current ownership or beneficial use of those rights, or completed impact studies on water, sewer, traffic, emergency response, or schools under Utah Code 28-7-602 and 28-7611. Residents maintain the right to file a local referendum, and any action that becomes the subject of a referendum is stayed until voters decide. If any agreement for this development contains a clause allowing withdrawal or renegotiation because of a referendum, that clause must be publicly disclosed by section and exhibit so residents understand the potential risks. I respectfully request the following. Number one, public release of any referendum-related developer withdrawal clause within the development or water service agreements. Number two, public verification of all water rights certificates and ownership records represented for this project. Number three, publication of water, sewer, traffic, emergency service, and school impact studies before any additional approvals. Finally, I want to note that tonight's meeting was rescheduled with very little notice to the public. This only reinforces the need for transparent, accessible process, especially for a project of this magnitude. I'm not opposed to growth. I support responsible, transparent, and sustainable growth that protects current residents and the character of Grantsville. Thank you for including this comment in the public record. Sincerely, Carly Renee Hill, Grantsville, Utah, end quote.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other public comment? Anything on Zoom?
We do have one, Sarah Moore.
Hello?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Thank you for taking my public comment. I'll be just a minute. I wanted to talk about the water agreement with Johnson's Deseret Development. My name is Sarah Moore, concerned community member, and it hasn't been brought up yet, and I'm not sure why, but you all know that he has not been able to commit that full development because of the easement that he needs to get to a third of that development currently. That allowing him to use our water and then sell it when he's unable to develop it, because I need to remind you that the owner of that land that goes through a third of his development has stated in a letter read publicly in a public meeting saying that they will never relinquish rights for him to have an easement to get to that other side of his development. So it would be an egregious error to sell him water for his whole development when he won't be able to develop at least a third of it. And also, Heidi, you mentioned in the last meeting that it would be a $12 million benefit to the city to use for something. However, I'm not sure where the math is not mathing when he says it's $80 million worth of water that he needs to purchase for this development and the city would only get 12. I wonder if it would not be taking money that our community members who actually own water shares that he would have to source and purchase from them. You're taking an opportunity from them to make money by selling the water shares that they own. And without, as Derek mentioned, a city having a clear direction to use that money in a way that benefits everybody, I want to say thank you for letting me have my feelings on this heard, that the water that the city has as a resource should not be just given to this developer in good faith when it's our resource. It's our community's resource. And I don't feel that would be the best choice for everybody involved in our community. Thank you.
Sarah? Anybody else?
Krista McFarland.
Okay.
And Mayor, probably just state that voters online.
Okay. If you're online and you want to make public comment, push the raise the hand button on the Zoom. Okay, Krista McFarland.
Krista McFarlane. I just want to start by saying I am not a resident who is opposed to growth. My family moved here 2 years ago. My parents moved out here 3 years ago, and we spent enough time coming out to visit them and fell in love with the area and took a drive through our neighborhood and saw all the kids outside playing and just knew this was where we were supposed to be. With that said, I am concerned with the developer creating such a large development without previously having secured any water resources. The state of Utah is in a drought, and we have been for many decades now. And our water resources are very precious. And to just hand them off to a developer whose priority is their bottom line first and foremost before providing their development seems a little irresponsible to me. And so I would encourage the city council to look long and hard at what the developer is proposing and what the developer is bringing in terms of infrastructure and resources, as that's a cost that's passed on to the residents that currently live here and those who are coming in. And the developers, they make quite a lot of money. And so it shouldn't be shouldered by the residents. That is a responsibility that should go to those developers if they want to build in our community, and our community is very desirable. The growth shows that people want to move out here. So don't give in to the developers. Make them bring the resources. Make them make concessions to continue to keep our community one that people want to live in and one that's beautiful and productive and not just another congested suburb of Salt Lake.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I don't see any online, but if anybody would like to, please raise your hand in the Zoom reactions.
Okay. Seeing none? Okay. With that, we'll close that portion of business. Move to summary action items. A is approval of minutes from the November 5th, 2025 City Council meeting and the November 12th, 2025 Board of Canvassers meeting.
I had one item regarding the November 5th minutes. The item number 6. And it said I voted aye in that section and I voted nay on that specific. That is 2025-38. So I don't know if that's a typo, but that needs to be correct.
You got that?
I'll get that corrected.
Okay. Anything else? Everything else looks good.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes for the November 5th meeting with the changes that Councilman Thomas mentioned.
With that, we need a second.
Second.
Second, motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's talk about the council meeting, November 12th, 2025 Board of Canvassers meeting.
That should be an easy one.
Yeah.
Make a motion, we approve the November 12th Board of Canvassers meeting as presented.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. B is approval of the bills. Seen anything crazy you wanna?
I have a question on the 12 LE pumping. It says on the one, it says the fire station. Was that supposed to be from Veterans Day? Because I never saw it there.
Oh, it was there around the corner.
Ugh.
It was outside.
Was it there? Sorry, chief, like,
It
cause
was
I
there.
think some people use the bathroom inside, cause I didn't know it was there.
Yeah, it was next to the building on the south side.
Dang it, sorry.
That's okay.
There was only a couple people. Alright, yeah, cause I was like, I didn't see it that whole time. It must have just been on that other side then.
Okay.
There was another thing. So here's a question maybe for chief, like, on the extinguisher inspection, like, we don't have anyone who can do that, is it a specific company that has to do it? Okay.
We can do it monthly, but not yearly.
Okay,
And we need to look at getting that bid out, okay? So it's not just one person. Status quo. Okay. Anything else? Saying none?
Make a motion, we approve the bills.
Motion, is there a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Okay. The next item of business is appointment of Alicia Fairborn as the city recorder for Grantsville, Utah. I'll take this one.
No, we're very excited to have Alicia here, and so she's joined us from Hideout with 19 years experience. She's been a recorder for different places, and so I think with that skill set, she's going to bring a great asset here and change some of our processes and how we organize and put things on the agenda, as well as manage our office space over there. So we're very excited to have her.
Welcome, Alicia.
Happy to be here.
Need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the appointment of Alicia Fairborn as the city recorder for Grantsville, Utah.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, item 4, consideration of ordinance 2025-41, amending the expiration date for kennel and sportsman permits to align with dog licensing. That's you.
I didn't know that one was on this one. So we have worked with Alexis and her team closely, as well as Gina Roberts. In our code, it references that they need to renew their license in December, and then they need to get another license in, I think it's March. And it didn't make sense to have those separated, so we wanted to combine those so that they could get all the licenses at once.
So when are you gonna have them get the licenses, in March or?
It's March, yeah, it all aligns in March.
Aye, good idea.
On page 3, I think there might be just a small typo. It says, at no time may the boulder retained or boulder of the permit. Is that supposed to say holder?
Holder.
Okay.
Holder.
I figured, but I just thought that maybe.
Sorry. Keep going. Keep going down. Where was it at, Heidi?
It was on page 3 of my
Oh,
printout here. Paragraph 2.
yeah, the holder of the permit.
Yeah, and now go down to the third to
Oh,
last
Yeah,
sentence.
at no time.
At no time. May the boulder.
Yeah. We'll just need to correct that.
Have a boulder, you won't need it.
I move that we approve ordinance 2025-41, amending the expiration date for kennel sportsman permits to align with dog licensing with the one little clerical correction.
The motion, is there a second?
A second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 5, consideration of resolution 2025-81 approving the master water service agreement with the Deseret Development. Michael, Sean, 2 attorneys.
So the changes that were reflected in last council have been shown here in this version. I think there's only a few, I mean, we're not making any changes since the packet here, so Jeff's gonna walk you through what was.
Yeah, if you want, I can walk you through the changes that have been made since the last meeting.
Yes.
So these are the changes that came from the city and from the city working with the developer. So we changed in section 1A, which gives the schedule for the credits. Originally it was, the first takedown was December 31st, 2025. We pushed that out to March 31st, 2026. And then also changed the next one again, instead of being December, being March of 2023. In that next paragraph that allows for the deadlines to be extended. I know last time there were some questions about the wording of that one, so we tried to change the wording to make it more clear to say that each of those 2 deadlines can be extended 1 time each. So before it was a little unclear, you guys were questioning whether they could do kind of perpetual extensions. So we tried to fix that language to make it more clear. It's one one extension per time period. And again, they have to pay that fee on to be able to get that extension. And then again, in 1B on the option, again, pushed it back a few months to align with all the other deadlines that we changed as well. So, and in 1D, which is the titled water fees, again, change the date to be March 31st, 2026. And change the other dates to line up, as well as change the amounts because the math was a little bit different. The amounts that the water fees go up to changed a little bit. Let's see what the other changes were. In section 5B, there's just an error where it said public improvement district, and we changed that to be the correct public infrastructure district. In 8G, we added a provision that the developer pays or reimburses the city for half of its fees incurred in drafting the agreement. Some minor changes, we just added the new city recorder's email address to the notice provision and fixed a typo in Tyson's email address. And then the exhibits, there were just some cosmetic changes. There were some kind of stray headers and footers that we got rid of. There was a blank page that we got rid of, but nothing of substance in there, just again, cosmetic things on the exhibits.
And if you want, I mean, council has any questions or wants our attorneys to go over any questions regarding the water credits or anything like that before discussion.
You know, I think it'd be important that for people to understand that the developer cannot sell this water to anybody else. It has to stay there. Okay? It's not gonna leave them, not gonna leave that development. He can't turn around and sell it to somebody in some other development.
Can you point
Correct.
to, sorry,
Yeah,
can you point to the portion of the agreement that says that?
yeah, there
So
is
that
a
all
portion.
can understand.
It's, you gotta remember where that is.
Probably have.
So when the developer does dedicate credits to a specific phase, it does provide that they are deemed attached and no longer available for dedication to another phase of the development. But there's another provision that specifically says they can't be conveyed or used on other developments.
It's in F, 1F,
Use of water credits, F.
Yeah.
the very bottom.
Yeah, or assignment to another party. Is that what we're looking for?
Well, that's after they're assigned. Oh, here it is. It's actually in 1E. So it says water credits cannot be assigned for use outside of the development. So they can't, they can only be used within the development as laid out in here.
Second sentence from the bottom.
Yeah.
I don't know who would speak to this, but I just want to make sure I understand it. So we've limited the amount of water in the third option. Really, it's up to the city to decide at that time. But I wanted to make sure it says, when it talks about if the city commits more than 145 acre feet to another development, I just want to make sure I'm clear on what then.
On what happens then?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea here is
Yeah.
the city wanted to still make sure it had water, that if other opportunities arose, that it could use those, because obviously, you know, the two sides here, the city wants to have its water available and be useful, and the developer wants to have the water available for them. And so the idea here was, well, we're gonna wait and see if there's water available, and along the way, the city has water that they can still use to provide to other developments, like it's done for some of these commercial developments, for example, is mainly where the city's done this. But if the city gives more or allows more than 145 acre feet to be used, then the city is obligated at that point to basically, it's kind of like the option has to be given at that point for the developer to take additional water at that point.
So under 3A, under water rights, it says the city shall not be held liable for water conditions outside of its control, including but not limited to drought, aquifer levels, and groundwater contamination.
Yes.
So what happens if maybe we're halfway through and we have a drought, or we have low aquifer levels, or our water gets brackish for some reason, or whatever? What happens then?
Then the development, I guess, won't be able to happen, because this provides that the city is not responsible for those things. It can't guarantee that the groundwater won't become contaminated or something like that. Obviously, nobody wants that to happen. Nobody wants any of these things to happen.
So would the city then refund the money for the credits that are not assigned? I mean, I guess, because let's say he gets, we get to that second payment and he's got the 1,400 or whatever,
Mhm.
and we get to 1,000 and run into a problem, like, and he's already paid for those 400, do we reimburse? I just don't understand.
Yeah, I presume that there would probably have to be some sort of reimbursement at that point, and there is provisions in here about reimbursement in the chance that the city can't meet its obligations.
Okay.
But the idea there is that the developer can't come and say, well, I couldn't do my development, so I would have made millions of dollars, and so you owe me
They
millions
can't
of
sue us
dollars.
for that, yeah. It would just be, because I did appreciate that protection, that, in that scenario, or whatever scenario, that it would just be whatever the worth was of the water.
Yeah,
Right?
obviously none of us can predict the future, and
And it probably should be noted, like on the next one, on B, it says developer remains obligated to meet all other development requirements, including but not limited to, I don't know why I can say limited today, but limited to construction of required water facilities, payment of drinking water facility impact fees, payment of impact fees related to the wastewater plant, and non-water impact fees, engineering fees, permit fees, or other similar requirements, just to make it clear that this is not replacing those. This is just water credits. This is not replacing any impact fees or anything like
correct.
that.
This
is a
only deals
totally
with
separate thing.
the water supply. So the water infrastructure, wells, tanks, pipelines, that's all outside of this and governed by ordinance, or to the extent, there's a master plan adopted.
Any more questions?
So I guess my last question is outside maybe the scopes of the water service agreement, but I've appreciated all this work. And I don't know who should answer this, but I want to clear in my mind, has the city saved enough water for itself? Meaning, we know we've got water assigned to certain commercial type developments. But there's going to be water needs for watering parks, which we're trying to establish, and and perhaps small developments that are in the core or in the heart of Grantsville currently. I'm thinking of little acreages that will need water, that they might just, pay to use the city water. So I don't know in this document, I don't know who can answer this, but are we saving enough water for the city? Like, I don't know, is there a water?
Yeah, I don't
reserve
know.
in
I think
there?
that's frankly more of a question for you as a council to answer, right? I mean, we've laid out the math of what the city's water rights are, what its
Right.
obligations are, where its water came from. I will say that in the example of people connecting,
Right.
again, they will pay either provide water or pay an impact fee, and then that impact fee can be used to buy water to offset. So I know that, that still happens, and one of the questions that was brought up during public comment was the city advertising to buy water. Again, it wasn't city money in the sense of, taxpayer money being used for that. That was impact fee money that came from people that connected the city system. And that impact fee money was then being spent to buy water to offset those new connections.
And those shares are not being considered here, right?
Yes, and those ones, again, all the water bought with impact fee money was not counted in the, available water.
And once again, I mean, you explained this in our last meeting, but you are our water attorney
Yes,
and have been for 15+ years.
yes,
So every share, every acre feet of water that flows in and out of Grantsville legally, that's tied to Grantsville City, comes through you.
all the water rights, yeah. I sometimes don't get involved when the city takes water shares.
Yes.
Just because that's a different process and a little more straightforward. But yeah, anytime the city has acquired water rights, whether through purchase or development dedication, usually I have been involved, again, making sure that there are good water rights, both from a title perspective and a substantive standpoint, doing the paperwork to make sure they're approved to be used by Grantsville City, out of Grantsville City sources that could be used throughout the city in the best manner possible. So yeah, I've had my hand on all of those water rights for a number of years.
And you could confidently say that none of those shares that we've requested to purchase have been purchased with taxpayer dollars. It's always been impact fee, correct?
I've never seen any purchased with tax money that I can recall. Again, the only ones I've seen purchased that I can remember are ones that were part of that impact fee process. Again, where they basically put out a notice for bid and say, we have impact fee money, this much, we want to buy water, what do you have that you'll sell the city?
So I don't know if this goes with this at all, because maybe I'm confusing different things, but this is from the West Bank Water Report. And it says, according to the Grantsville Capital Funding Plan, Grantsville City currently has a total of 5,975 ERCs. So does this sound like it still goes with this? I'll finish the sentence. And this model anticipates that the number of additional ERCs after full build out is 30,961 ERCs, equaling a total of 36,936 ERCs, or a 518.18% increase. And so I know, like, based on that, that's why we're doing the tank, and does this feed into this decision we're making tonight as far as?
Tell me what document you're referring to.
That's
I may not
the
be
West
familiar.
Bank Water Report.
In the West Bank study?
In the West Bank study. And this was from August 2024 from Jones and DeMille.
I was gonna say which one of the four engineering companies that we had working on that come up with us.
Yeah. Because like I remember we used this information to make some of our decisions as far as needing to put in the water tank and that kind of thing. But like a 518% increase on our ERCs. And did this count, this development? Okay, so that's.
And was that looking at the infrastructure or the water supply? I don't know if I'm real familiar with this
Yeah,
document.
that's the question I kind of had. I was.
I think anything with tanks or water lines or pipes would be the infrastructure, and
Okay,
that's separate from this. The developer's already agreed in this agreement that he's gonna pay for those infrastructures. And any upsizing, the city will talk about and negotiate with.
Okay.
But any infrastructure will be paid by the developer.
okay, so that's more looking at infrastructure.
From what you read, it sounds like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure I'm understanding all the different aspects.
So as they were coming up, they knew what the size of this development, what the Highlands was, what Larry Jacobson's, with all those people that are out there. That was part of this thing, Bill. Go up to North Star.
I think I have a question in line with Jeff's question. I know we were handed a handout that has the water credit availability summary to it. Just wondering if we could go, can we walk through that again?
Yeah.
Like line by line? I think that would be good to be presented again, so there's a clear understanding of that.
While Michael grabs that, I want to throw in, just for the benefit of the public, to bounce off Councilmember Butler's comment, because I think that, until a few years ago, I had no idea what an impact fee was. Well, a decade ago, I had no idea what an impact fee was, and there's probably really enterprising members of the public who are familiar with what those are, but just in case. What we were saying earlier, when Jeff was talking about it not being part of the calculation, I think he'll address this in a second, commenting about how the city went out and used impact fee funds to acquire water. There's really two important points that the public may want to know. The first is the city can only collect impact fees and spend them for the purpose of which they're collected under the statute. And so when Grantsville adopted an impact fee for water supply, essentially what it's requiring developers to do is pay money to acquire water supply. And then that water supply is used for new development, right? And so we're very limited. And the second thing is, when Jeff says it's not part of the calculation, this agreement does not contemplate in any way, shape, or form using credits from the impact fee acquired water. They are separate. And so if a developer is listening to this and says, well, I paid for water for impact fees, and then you turned around and sold it to somebody else, we're not. Those water credits are not associated with water acquired from impact fee fund revenues. So I hope I'm not beating a dead horse, but I just wanted to be very, very clear about those 2 points.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I help understand.
So what,
I would like to say this to everybody. The state had us in some magic little formula when they created Grantsville, remember? That's so many acre feet per second, cubic feet per second, I guess.
Yeah.
What was that? Can you recall that?
well, what do you mean?
What was it they initially quantified the water?
So Grantsville cities and most cities' water rights that were originally established back in the day, the state would just quantify them or give them a CFS number. In other words, your water right allows you to pump 2 CFS. It didn't put a volume number on it, which is an acre foot number. But in theory, again, the city could pump the 2 CFS 24/7, 365. And each CFS is 723.97 acre feet. So that's why some of these water rights, again, have what we call a maximum number on them. And that's where that comes from.
And so you wanted to walk through this, Jake?
Yeah, Just briefly, I think it would be.
Did you want me to walk through it, or did you want to ask questions about?
I think just the explanation between each one specifically.
Okay,
Is there any way we could bring it up on the board? Or if not possible? Packet, the last packet.
Do you want one, Rex?
Oh, I got one.
Oh, okay.
I have one.
All right.
Like for other people
Let
to
me see if I can send it to you.
see it.
I think it's important to have it online and up on the monitor.
Let's go through what it says, okay? It says the city's total water rights were 10,286.85 acre feet.
yes,
Okay, the rights acquired from dedications, water banking, and purchases with impact fee was 5,775.39 acre feet.
yeah, so that's
So
all the
let's
water,
let him- Yeah,
that's all the water that's been acquired through those methods, and again, that's not part of the calculation, we're just
Yep.
taking those out, because that's
that's
water.
what you just mentioned, right?
Yep. Mhm.
And so the water rights originally established by the city was 4,511.46 acre feet.
Yes. So that's kind of our starting number. That's, in some ways, that's the number of, again, water that the city has that it didn't acquire from developers or through water dedications, buying water with impact fee money, so on.
And that's a maximum.
That's a maximum number, correct?
And you said that that's equivalent to how many, 700 and some odd
So each
per cubic feet per second?
Each cubic foot per second is 723.97 acre feet.
Will you repeat that number again?
723.97 acre feet.
So that means initially the state issued Grantsville City 6.23 cubic feet per second.
Yes.
Maximum.
Yes, with a caveat. So there was, most of those cities' water rights were that way. There was one or two smaller ones that were actually quantified that are in here, but the vast majority was just done in CFS originally. Correct. And again, in 1999 or 2000, when the city started dedicating or doing water dedications, the city was using about 900 acre feet. So we took that out because that's water that the city was using. You know, basically that's what the city was using before dedications. So that means the maximum available water is that 4,500 minus the 900 is the 3,600 acre feet. And then we have, again, the idea that maybe that you can't pump 24/7, 365, all of your water rights. So we said, well, we don't want to, even though that number's a maximum, we need some sort of buffer in there to not push the city to the limits. So we put a 20% buffer in there. So that's why, available water is 2,880. That's 80% of the 3,600. And then the estimated commitments to existing projects, that's the, what's the big commercial development? Lakeview Business Park. And so there's some other smaller ones. Again, the estimates on those is somewhere between 600 to 1,000 acre feet. So again, that leaves about 1,880 to 2,280 acre feet of what we term uncommitted water that possible that the city could make use of that by using it for development. Any questions on the
Thank you.
math there?
Okay. No, that was really helpful in the math, and this has been really helpful, but
Thanks for bringing that up.
so the 900 acre feet that the city's using, where are we using that water?
So the 900 acre feet is what the city was using before dedication started. So in other words, so now the city's using a little over 2,000 acre feet. So that 1,100 acre feet of increased use is water that's coming from, again, the water acquired from developers through exactions, dedications, water banking, those sorts of things.
Okay.
Questions?
All right.
I think you need the Jeopardy music, come on. Okay. If you don't think.
here if there's more.
Yes, thank you. Any more discussion in the council?
Well, I'll just say this, in regards to some of the questions that were posed during public comment, I think that it would be wise to, I think some of those questions have been answered, so to speak, but there may be some others that that we may want to discuss and answer just to make sure that there's some clarity on what this is and what it isn't, right? So, and put it on record. So is there anything that stuck out to any one of you in regards to the notes you took?
Well, that 1/3 of the development, if that falls apart and they can't develop over there, they don't have the water for it. Because if they can't develop it, and we're down to 1/3 left, the 2/3 that are there are available to receive this.
Well, and that's why we, if I remember right, I mean, it may have been intentional or unintentional, but that's the reason why we divided it up into thirds.
Yeah.
And that's why we created the third option, in that in the event that the Hall Road that divides the property up, that really, not so much the parcel that is along the state road, but the parcel that's kind of stuck on an island, up against the mountain there would not be able to be developed because there's no access, right? So.
We put a lot of thought into this part of it, so.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it's not that we hadn't discussed it and we didn't know about it. But yeah, that's the reason why we approached it the way we did. I think we attacked the question about not allowing the developer to sell to other developments outside of the development that is in place. So it's tied to that. I think, Jeff, you brought that up and we hit on that. So I think that is pretty clear that would not be able to happen legally because they're tied to this water service agreement.
The impact fee money is not included in this water. Impact fee water.
Yeah, I think for a little more clarity for those in the gallery and those online. So in regards to the water that is available for us as a city to transfer via this water service agreement is water that we have currently. It's water that was allocated to us by the state. The water shares, the actual water rights in the water shares that they've either been water banked or given to the city in terms of development. None of those true water shares would be tied to this, just what was initially allocated to the city, which is water right number. And I mean, I've got it here in front of me, 15-376 and 15-516 is the municipal water right given to us at 4,488.6.
Those are the two biggest ones.
Yeah, those two are the two biggest water shares. And that's all tied to the cubic feet per second that was initially allocated to Grantsville that we talked about.
Yeah,
6.23 cubic feet per second. Okay. So the other big question is the water there? I mean, that's like the $10 million question. It may be, we're tongue in cheek, we could call it the $80 million question. So, there's some of us that have, have access or have read the USGS report. I mean, do we have water underneath us? Is it there? I don't know.
Right. I've been rethinking the answer to the question. If the water is not, if there's drought or something else.
Please do.
I don't think there is a requirement for the city to refund the money.
Yeah.
Under the agreement, because the city's not liable for that. And so that's a risk I think the developer is essentially taking, that, if they buy this water and for some reason it can't be, it's just not there. In terms of wet water, it's just not there. Now, again, I think both parties will make whatever efforts they can to make that happen, to get the water. But it is, by putting in there that the city is not liable for it, then we're not liable for it.
I would agree with that. Essentially, I mean, because there may be, not knowing what's underneath the soil, in conversations that I've had with Stansbury Park Water Improvement District, they mentioned that Tooele drilled a well and they went 1,000 feet in solid bedrock. And so the location of where those wells are going to be important as well, as far as hitting water.
Yeah,
So
that doesn't
no
necessarily mean
guarantee.
if the city drills one well and doesn't hit water, that they can just kind of wash their
Right.
hands of it, right? Because, maybe they're gonna have to drill another well or something like that, but.
I had an interesting comment that, and I'm just gonna share this, that I read in the USGS study. So I asked this question specifically to one of the old board members of the Stansbury Park Water Improvement District. He mentioned that the water that comes through our aquifers, that comes from the mountains, takes 22 years to hit our aquifers. So when we talk about droughts that happen, and it's interesting, the conversation, because I read it and I said, that seems like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And he said that, he goes, well, we somewhat proved it, because in 83, 84 and 85, 86, those years we had heavy water. 22 years later, the static well level of those wells was the highest they've ever seen. So he said, I've kind of, there's a science behind that, and we've actually, proven that. Some of the interesting comments that he made as well, they originally drilled wells in that area, and I might get my dates a little bit off here by years, but early 1980s. And he mentioned that they hit the same static water levels in their wells in a little over 2000. So I think it was 2007. I'll have to look at the document. Basically saying that, that many years later and that many homes later, they still have the same water levels in their wells. So I asked him the question, is the water there? And his response to me was, well, it's 40 years later, it's still what it was. He's like, I would worry when it starts to drop below those levels. So, paper water and wet water are two different things, and we can't drink paper. But I think we have a due diligence to make sure, that we do a due diligence there to make sure we know we use what we know, essentially. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Any more discussion, you guys?
Well, kind of going off of what Jake said, and I don't remember where I got this. It's from the state, but it's talking about developing a city water element plan, which we did just add to our general plan. But looking at other cities and their plans, I'm like, we added, I don't know, a few paragraphs to our plan for that. And, just looking at, for example, it was Alpine, their water element was 35 pages. And irregardless of the decision we make tonight, we need to get a better water plan in place. And for example, it says the water element needs to include the effect of permitted development or development patterns on water demand and water infrastructure. This is asking you to develop a water budget, methods of reducing water demand and per capita water use for existing development, methods of reducing water demand and per capita water use for future development, modifications that could be made to local government operations to reduce and eliminate wasteful water practices. Anyway, it goes through, it's a whole page of things that we've never gone through. And I mean, we've touched on some things, but we haven't developed a plan. And so right now, ideally, I would like to see a better water plan and also an ordinance, at least an ordinance in place to say how we're going to address this. If, you know, we have future developers coming up as Sempo comes, we have lines of people coming, like, we don't have really a set thing in place to say, we're going to stop at this, or we're going to do this. We've done so well at kind of looking at the future and planning for the future, and I don't want to stop doing that at this point. I worry a little bit. I don't know, it keeps coming to my mind, what's it called, like the monkey trap story where the monkey puts his hand in the jar and then he grabs too much and he can't get his hand out of the jar, and that's how you trap him. I would feel more comfortable still just doing that first 733 and then revisiting it in 7 years, or, you know, if he goes to a different person. I'm still not totally comfortable with the full 1400 because I do feel like it's a little bit of a gamble of, do we really have that water? And I guess maybe my question is still, you know, how do we determine and what do we do as a city to make sure all of our citizens have enough water? Do we do like a moratorium if we get hit hard enough that would stop this development or all developments at that time and say, we've got to stop? I don't know what happens if I'm just trying to look at worst case scenario. What happens at that point? You know, like we talked about in the contract, we wouldn't be held liable to them, but we are held liable to our citizens if everyone's needing water and we can't provide that. So that's where I'm kind of stuck right now.
Anything else?
I just felt like the last thing that was brought up, I feel like it was brought up 4 times tonight and once last week, and then I've had it asked personally just a couple times, is what's our plan for the water? And it's all speculation, right? That would be up to us as council members to decide what to do with that. Did I say, what's our plan with the water? What's our plan with the money, the income? And so, I mean, I tried to throw out last week, the last meeting, some speculations of what we could do with that money, which was improve roads, improve parks, improve rec centers, a lot of, and this is just speculation. So I don't, you know, it's almost too much to handle right now. We've got to focus on doing our best we can with this water service agreement, but which I think we have. But elections are one, you know, on running, saying we're going to do the best for our youth. And, you know, I don't know how to sit here and speculate to the community other than say, you know, I think youth would be a top priority. Parks, I think we've proven ourselves as a council that parks are a huge priority. We're trying. And you know, we're funding them. This gives us a windfall to solve a lot of those problems without raising taxes, as we've mentioned, and just make some of that possible. So I don't know how to answer that plan question other than we'll address it. It seems to be, I don't know what else to say. It's just come up a bunch.
Well, I think when we've discussed this in the past and I think we made it pretty clear in the last meeting, but any monies coming in from this is really allocated and dedicated to the water budget, the water fund, right? Michael?
Yes,
We
correct.
don't have our finance officer here, at least not yet, right?
Well,
She's
she's sitting in the back. She'll be starting in the first, but yes,
But not
correct.
sworn in.
Unofficially.
Okay, great. So I mean, we can't just willy-nilly allocate whatever we want to do whatever. We can't allocate a bunch of money to the police
Not right
department.
away.
Yeah, and every monies that moves out of from one fund and into another fund has to be noticed publicly, correct?
Correct.
Everything will be public, transparent. Well, if we do pass this and we do accept these funds, and when we actually finally receive those funds, because there is a date between signing this contract and Sean going out and getting the bonds and actually writing the city a check, that would be deposited in our water fund, and then we go through the process of bringing that about to get out of our water fund and into our capital general fund. There would be many opportunities for us to meet as council with the public to go over what the council wants to do with those funds. How to invest those funds is going to be a high priority. How to expand those funds into different pathways to go forward and stretch them as far as possible.
Putting this money into matching funds that will, drastically increase the value of it.
I think that's an important thing to note, and it's something, just as a citizen before I sat on this council, I didn't realize how important it was for the city to be able to get certain larger type grants to be able to have matching funds that are dedicated to those projects. And that really says a lot when you're getting those grants, which we don't have to pay back, right?
Right,
So, I mean, Heidi, you've ran across that quite often where.
I have, yes.
So I think, for us, I think it would be important moving forward to have a large portion of that money dedicated to those type of projects, to where we can take that money and let it work for us, so to speak, in multiple ways.
Yeah.
Right,
Work for the citizens of Grantsville. When I say us, I hope everyone understands that it's not us as a council. It's us as citizens of Grantsville, because we're representing you.
That's right.
I'd like somebody to, I'm not sure who would be the right person to speak with this, but it was discussed at the last meeting. I just want the public to understand that water from other areas of the county those shares can be sold and used in Grantsville, but Grantsville shares can't be sold to be used somewhere else. Is that right?
So there's the Tooele Valley Groundwater Management Plan, which was prepared and put in place by the Utah Division of Water Rights, that determines how you can move water rights in the Tooele Valley.
Right.
So you can move water roughly 2 miles west to east, but as far east to west as you want. And then there's an area way to the east that you can't even move water in there at all. So that's way over by Lake
Point.
Huh? Lake Point. I always want to say Lake Shore, and I know that's not right. Lake Point. Yeah, so you can't even move water in there at all. If you want to use.
So we're on the far west, so that
You're on
means
the far west.
anything can move.
Yeah, so you could take water from Lake Point and move it all the way out here to Grantsville.
Right.
But you can't take Grantsville water and move it to Tooele or Stansbury or Lake Point.
That's why Tooele water is more.
So, yeah, so my point in bringing that up is the developer stated at our last meeting that he has means to go and purchase this from private people who have large amounts of water shares or investors or whatever the case may be, that maybe wouldn't even come from a share that was presently banked in Grantsville, right? I have that.
We gotta stop using the word share.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Water rights.
rights.
Correct.
Use the word right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
water right.
Yes.
So us not approving this does not mean we're going to stop the development, because the water shares can be right.
It's a big difference. It really
It
is.
is.
You just keep correcting me,
No,
okay,
I'm on-
Jeff?
I'm on
Okay,
it.
you got that. Okay, so the water rights can be purchased somewhere else, which he has said he already has the ability to do so from other places. So it's not going to stop the fact that water is going to be taken out of the ground. It's going to happen. It's not, if we don't approve this, this development is not hinging on this decision. Correct? He will find the water rights and purchase those from somewhere within the county that can be moved to Grantsville. So the water is still going to be being sucked out of the ground, but to the benefit of a couple, and the point I tried to address, and I've talked with several residents in town, that the water rights will still be, the water will still be taken from the ground, and it will be to the benefit of only a few individuals, developers, investors, people who have been handed down water rights in their family for years, whatever the case may be. And so that will benefit only them. It will not benefit any of the rest of us as residents of Grantsville. Whereas this is going to give, through the efforts and as Jeff has talked about, being able to find ways to use that money to our maximum value for the residents of Grantsville, as opposed to just a couple of people who might have water rights available to sell. Am I understanding that all correctly?
Okay. More discussion?
You bet.
Or you want a motion?
We could discuss this all night, can't we?
You want to beat the horse or you want to get it done?
I think we're getting there.
Well, I think we're getting there.
Okay.
I don't know if we're quite there yet. I think there's another thing that, I believe we need to make clear. So this overlay district, was already approved. It was approved earlier this year by this council, right? Now, the MDA is not approved yet, right? That'll be something that'll be on the table tomorrow for planning and zoning, and I'm sure there'll be some modifications and some movement on that.
It won't be tomorrow.
Oh, it won't be
The
tomorrow.
goal will be, it's the next,
Oh, it's the next meeting.
correct.
Okay,
We're still
great.
working out some things on with the attorneys.
I apologize. So I assumed it would be tomorrow, but not the case. So, I mean, really the notion that, there was one comment, this is not just another, congested suburb of Salt Lake City. I mean, this development's already been, the overlay district's already been approved. I mean, we've talked about this particular project, since I was in 2 years ago, and I think that the developer, and Sean's been working on this for 5 years, Sean? 5 years? That's what, yeah. So you go back to all those meetings, there's a lot of thought, and a lot of effort in regards to public infrastructure that's built into this whole master planned community. That is part of that will be a part of Grantsville. So.
And it should be noted that all of that is available, public record, like
Oh, yeah.
there were not any secret meetings about this. It's all available through public record. It's all been in public meetings. So.
I appreciate Councilwoman Jenkins, you bringing up the point, because I do believe this is one area. I think we're looking at infrastructure. We're trying to look ahead at all of these things are out in front of us, sewer plant, water capacity capturing, we're adding a tank by requirement for the state. We've got the addition of a sewer plant that will be by requirement from the state as well.
trying to look ahead. I think the water is an important factor of this, and developing that water plan. I obviously, the fixtures that are available now, that are water wise, and looking at water wise efforts within our city is another area in which I think the city could take part and look for whatever programs that can benefit us as a city by doing that, making our parks that way, our future development of our parks, ensuring that they have all the technology that, that you see when you drive down certain parts of Salt Lake and it's raining cats and dogs and the sprinklers are all blasting away. There are things that, that can be done. So I just wanted to know, I appreciate you brought that up because I think that's important as we look at that we develop that plan even further, along with those other things that we're looking at for future. So I just wanted to know that. Thank you for bringing that up. I think I've said enough.
I just want to make one more clarification. So just so everyone's clear, the money for this, the money that's paid for these water rights, are
For the credits.
for the water credits, but to be able to utilize the water rights. That all comes through the PID, right? We all understand that. So the notion that that the developer should be paying, I think the number was thrown out, $80 million for these water rights or water credits. That doesn't come out of their pockets. It's the consumer that ends up paying it, just so everyone's clear. It's not them. They're bonding through the PID to be able to, I'll just use the term, I'll use it loosely, they're leveraging the PID to be able to pay for these water credits. So it's the end user that ends up paying for this. And I mean, from my standpoint, rightfully so, right? I mean, because they're the individuals that are moving here. They're the individuals that'll be living in the homes. They'll be the individuals that'll be benefiting from the use of the water. That'll be tied to their connection. So it is not the developer. They utilize the funding mechanism, but they're not dipping into their own pockets and forking over that money. So just want to make that clear.
Good point.
So that goes without saying. I'll just bring this up as well because I think it should be addressed. So the number that we have to start with is $25,000 per water credit, right? And this first tranche, so to speak, is 733 water credits. So there was a number that was thrown out. That was one of the public comments was $12 million. That's not what this is. This is.
Yeah, I don't know what that was quoting.
Yeah.
It's about 18,400,000.
Yeah, just shy of 18,400,000 is the amount of the first phase, right? Phase number 2, if they exercise it in the 7 years, that amount goes up. It's in the agreement, 2.5% compounded every year over the course of 7 years. So can't remember what's that amount, Jeff? Oh,
Yeah, it's on there.
yeah, we just tries to bring that up just so people can see that.
2033, it would be $29,717.46.
So essentially $4,300 per credit more for each one of those. So you do the math.
Can I make a comment? Is that
other party of this agreement that's being discussed.
Absolutely. Come on up. I think it'd be great to hear from you.
Just a clarification,
Is that okay?
just a clarification on that bonding comment you make.
Yeah.
My name's Sean Johnson. I am the applicant of this agreement. These specific bonds, they're not passed on to the end user, meaning the owner of the home. These bonds are paid off prior to an occupancy given to a unit owner. These bonds will be paid off by either us if we build the units, or if we sell off units to a builder to build the units, they'd be paid off by the builder of the unit. So these will not be passed on to individual homeowners. There are other bonds that we may do in the future that would be the case, but these bonds specifically are not.
So these are not passed on to the consumer,
No.
through the PID.
I mean, ultimately, all costs that
Ultimately, they
goes
are.
into a development is passed on to the consumer and the sale
Exactly.
price of a home.
It's,
But there's not going to be a specific lien on the property for a homeowner, or not a lien, but a tax levy on the property for a homeowner.
for this,
That's correct.
but it is figured into the soup.
Every cost is.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not ignorant to that,
Yes.
and neither is anyone online. So
Yeah, but
it will be
there,
passed on to the consumer.
it'll be passed on, but not through a tax levy.
Okay.
But there will be some parts of this development that will be passed on through a tax levy.
Yes.
PID.
Yes, we have yet to establish those, but most likely.
Thanks for that clarification. That's good. Still discussing. Jeff, I don't know if you had a chance, sorry to wake you up.
No, I'm here.
So water banked with the city that is not currently being utilized, that number is approximately how many acre feet of water is banked with the city by individuals that are protecting that water, but it is not dedicated or allocated to anything yet?
I don't think we have that number.
We don't have that number? Okay.
No, because you'd have to go through each banking and figure out, again, let's say Fieldstone Homes banked 100 acre feet for their development. Well, how many of the homes have actually been built and getting water service? I mean, so I guess that could be done, but it'd take a lot of work to. And that's why, again, we just set those aside and said, well, either they're being used or will be used for development, the banked water. Or even some of it technically isn't banked, it's been given to the city for developments that are still in process of being built.
The ones that have been given to the city have been recorded for those projects, and the previous city recorder had a list of those. And so we're gonna go and acquire that and get that information on exactly what's out of that 5,700, what specifically has been banked with the city and what's that remainder out there, who owns those things. So the city is aware of that, but right now with the transition in employees, we don't have that information available tonight.
Yeah, and again, the one caveat with that is that would show what is banked amount allocated to a development. That doesn't necessarily mean that development has been built. So somebody may have banked water and allocated, say, I'm gonna build phase 3 of Quail Run subdivision or whatever it is. But they haven't actually built it yet. So it wouldn't necessarily show what's being used, but it would show what's been at least allocated to a development. If that makes sense.
It would be nice as, our new city recorder, to be able to task that and to know which water rights that we have that are dedicated to specific projects and which water rights are banked.
Yeah,
with the city to protect those water rights from the state coming in and those particular water rights that individuals own still, right? They're just banked with the city. We talked about this.
No, the individual doesn't own the water rights. The water rights are owned by the city.
Yes,
So
you're right.
all the dedicator has at that point is credits.
Credits.
So it's the city that owns the water rights. It's the city that's maintaining them. But the person that banked them just has credits that they can use for development.
Yes.
And again, we can
And they
come
can
up
sell those credits,
and they can sell those credits.
just like
Right, so.
Grantsville City can sell those credits.
So what we could figure out is fairly easily of going through because each water that's been banked under a banking agreement, there's a separate log that shows what's been banked and then what has been allocated to development. And so we can see what's been banked and allocated to developments and what has been banked and not yet allocated to developments.
Thanks.
Any more discussion? Need a motion, you guys.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-81, approving the master water service agreement for the Deseret development.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Saying none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Me.
Okay, so roll call vote. Okay, Councilman Williams,
Nay.
Councilwoman Hammond,
Aye.
okay. Councilman Thomas, aye. Councilman Jenkins,
Nay.
Councilman Butler,
Yay.
okay. The ayes have it. 3-2, motion passes. For all your work. People don't understand how long we've been battling this out, getting the right things before you, okay? A lot of concerns. Okay. Number 6, consideration of ordinance 2025-42, amending chapter 6 of the Grantsville Municipal Code regarding cemetery regulations. As you guys have, we gave you copies of these. These are, made them big enough that even I can see them. What's in red is what we're replacing. The green is what's going in there. On the first one, that's just a,
Thank you, guys.
appreciate it. First one is just the city manager, because of code and his rights to do this. That's his job to keep that in place. In H, on M, it says infants shall be a child who is 2 years of age or younger. Okay. So does that mean? So I just said under 3 years of age. Is that good with you guys?
Is it like, I don't wanna sound like, what does it determine the age or whether it's? an
They
infant or-
can be buried in the cemetery plots where the children are buried.
Oh, we have like a
Yeah,
section?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And that you guys can waive the cost of that. Okay. And I come up with just under 3. That's what it is. It's 3 years and 1 day. It has to be something different. So we clarified that. 614, duties of the
Hold on,
sexton.
can I go back one?
Yeah.
On section one, on definitions for J, it says, defines what a resident is a former citizen of Grantsville City. Why is that considered a resident if they don't live here?
Because they have, most of the time, I pay taxes enough to get into to do that.
I'm not saying I have a problem with it, I'm just wondering why a resident is a former citizen, not a present citizen.
It could be somebody with family here.
Yeah.
And they wanna plot with family, or they could have moved away as well, would maybe fall into that category.
Do you wanna just
And
add
then
a
want to be
resident
buried.
is a current citizen
Or-
or a
Former
Yes.
resident. I think that's your point.
Yes, that's my point,
I agree.
yes.
A current resident?
Yeah.
Or,
Okay.
or current citizen or former citizen of Grantsville City.
I think it's pretty obvious, but
Yeah, just to
I
have
see what
it.
you're saying.
yeah,
Okay.
It kind of excludes that whole group of people that are here.
yeah.
What you're trying to say.
Okay. All right. The duties of the sexton under the direction of mayor, city council, that's taken out. And the city manager has that.
I did have one question on H, where we have and I agree with all of these, moving them over and their rewording specifically of each, where we've removed and given that designation, but it says city manager or designee. And I'm just wondering, is there a reason to have it be a designee, or can we just leave that within the realms of the?
You can give that to the sexton as far as the registrar goes.
Okay,
And the sexton can do that,
okay.
or an assistant manager. Okay.
So like, who would be a designee?
That was the question I had.
Yeah.
Would
So I
the
mean,
city manager designate
Yes.
the designee?
Yes.
Which goes to the next item on 6-1-5, which is just on the next section there. It says, shall designate a cemetery registrar. Do we not have one of those now?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who
It's
is
Audrey,
that?
Aubrey.
Okay,
Audrey, sorry,
okay.
excuse-
So now you can go back to the question of a designee. What would that?
Yeah, I actually think that needs to be in the hands of the city manager, because we're referring to rules and regulations and proper care and protection of the cemetery.
Which one are we on right now?
Am I?
well, H,
H.
it's going back to H.
H, okay.
I don't know, maybe help me to understand what's being done there. My concern is when you designate to designate to designate. And so.
Just wanted the city manager.
Well, does the city sexton report directly to the city manager? Is that
It
the
does.
intent behind
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Does not report to Public Works.
Correct. It
Well,
is
the
public
sexton
works.
is
yes.
the public works director.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. What if we ever get to a point where we need someone other than the Public Works Director?
Then this doesn't
Then you would amend
incorporate
it.
that. It doesn't seem like.
Yeah.
Well, then it could be,
It would have to
Designee.
be,
Exactly.
yeah.
yeah.
So how do you want that to read?
I think I agree with Jake that it shouldn't. It should just say the city manager, unless somebody can tell me why we would do that differently.
I guess
Do
if
you
you,
have a
if you
comment?
removed all the language with the sextant and the whole thing, and then just put it as the city manager or my designee, then I would designate who would be over the cemetery, and then you wouldn't ever have to come back and revisit any of that type of thing. And if you split up your public works and have a parks department, then you're gonna have to redo this then too. And so at that point, if you assign it as my designee, that means I'll be managing who's over different areas of that. And so then it would just be the city manager's discretion to make sure that gets done. I guess is where you would kind of clarify all that language in there and why you would say we want to designate because the city manager, I'm ultimately going to be responsible for everything that goes on. And so if it's my designee, I'm still going to be totally responsible for what goes on up there.
You'll have to answer for it.
Correct. But it just gives me the ability to change it quickly. But if we don't want that, that's again fine too.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
do you,
I
you're
think,
saying like, so then instead of, or even like where it's defined, the city sexton is defined as the public works director, if we even just took that out and put the city sexton is designated by the city manager, then it could be public works or we
Whoever we
end
need
up
to have.
hiring someone eventually that is just doing that job.
so we change that to,
I don't know if you guys are comfortable with that, but I think it's fine. Like, to just save yourselves work later on.
how do you want to word?
Hmm?
How do you want to word that? The sexton shall mean the public works director?
Cause that's what letter is that? Let's
That's,
see.
that's I. Let's see that. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so instead of saying sexton shall mean the public works director, sexton shall be designated by the city manager. And then you could take out the city manager or designee and just put city manager.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the duties of the sexton, we got to that point where you're ready to do this?
Yeah, it looked like we updated some dates. Which I think you're moving 15 days, but you got a hard cutoff. I agreed with that. The other part regarding, where we've had some discussion on this specifically in recent meetings regarding the metal hooks. And listing that as far as an exception into this, which I think is when we talk about the cemetery being a place for healing and stuff, I think that is a good move. I know Christie's not here tonight, but
I've run this by Christie.
I think for what the intent and purpose of that space is, it's to allow, I think that's a good place to be. So personally.
Okay, so
Is the 90 days for the temporary markers, is that long enough? Cause I know,
Christie thought it was.
well, cause I know Diane spoke about, like different grieving processes and even just trying to get enough money to get a stone could be up to a year.
So right now, as the way that is this, the policies, procedures, they take when there's gonna be a grave dug, they take a metal sign out there, a metal plaque, okay, with the name of the person being buried, this laminated on cardstock, put it in there, put it where the grave's gonna be dug. After they dig it, the grave, then they put the marker back there, okay? And when they're after the interment is over, they'll put that back in that place. So anything that the people put on there is 90 days. Like Diane wants to put a sign for 90 days, it will still be there. But that metal plaque that will be there until they get a headstone.
And so we removed any of the, like, oh yeah, you did. like
Put it.
to like charge them or whatever.
Exactly. Still.
Okay.
Let's see.
Can I just say on the 6-1-6, the hours and children to be accompanied by adults? Like, I feel like you could take off that except at the end. Like, cause you have unaccompanied minors shall not be allowed in cemeteries except for attending authorized funerals or in the company of adults placing flowers. So you're already saying they're in the company of adults, so.
Well, but if they're a teenager,
Uh-huh.
they can be there, attending authorized funerals. Okay, they don't have to be in presence of an adult, but they could be there.
Yeah, cause I mean, I can think of times when there's been a tragedy and one of my kids has gone to a graveside burial and I wasn't there present, and I don't think, I mean, I'm not talking a 5-year-old, I'm talking like a 13-year-old or something.
The one that was in there before where anything over 14 or under 14, you can't have it. Well, the problem that we're having, the headstones got tipped over were 2 14-year-olds. So, and it doesn't necessarily, take that away from there, but they need to be, if they're unaccompanied minor, whatever that is to you guys. I'm thinking 18. But I just think if we just put that in there, take out the other, that's gonna be a better, I don't want them hanging around in the cemeteries causing mischief at night.
I think that's fine.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, really, the major change was just the designee, deleting that, and then just designating that the sexton is designated by the city manager.
So.
The other big one was the hooks, whether they were over
Yeah, the
the
metal
cemetery or not.
Yeah, it's in
I
there.
felt like that was a good compromise.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's great.
as far as November 1st through March
March
1st, Christie would like to have those extra 2 weeks to start getting the cemetery ready for the summer.
Memorial.
Remove those artificial decorations and stuff. And as we publish that out, so people would understand that, they'll understand that's it, March 1st, okay? Okay. The metal hooks, you guys good with that language?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good with the 3 years of age or younger? Okay. There was a 6125 had the whole cemetery registrar as its own little section, and yet we have already covered it up here and the other ones. And it talks about animals, and I talked to Christy about this one specifically, and I says, what do you mean? What are we trying to do here? She says, I don't know. She says, people walk their dogs all the time in there. And according to this, and they have to be in the car, or unless it's a service dog, I don't know, maybe have a service peacock. I've heard that before. So, but they just have to be without being a danger and a nuisance to others. And that's part of the rules that go with things. So
We have that in red right now.
yeah, the whole
So that's-
thing out.
So 6-121 is completely out, 100%.
Right.
So maybe we should strike
The
animals
6-121,
prohibited as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Cause I thought it
True.
was just saying
Okay.
flat out animals prohibited, because it wasn't crossed out. It's like,
Well, one of the first parts in there talks about the cemetery being guarded against, have to have a fence up so the animals can't enter. Well, back in the day when people ran cows up and down Clark Street, we don't have any gates on it. And so we took that one out as well. Okay. I just think that's a kind of a nuisance thing. Yeah, so, okay. Somebody make a motion. You guys got all the corrections you want on? When you make a motion. That,
I just want a quick clarification. So after, from November 1st through March 1st, the decorations are permitted.
winter decorations, yeah. And they'll stay on the graves.
Okay, but on March 1st, they will clear anything that hasn't been removed.
Well, that's unsightly, I think that's how they put it.
Does it still say that?
Determines that.
Cause I don't like that. And what number is that again? Let's see, winter, all winter.
See.
Like it just says all winter, cause I don't remember it saying unsightly, because that's too subjective. And I know,
And it does say part of the sexton's things, I think that's where I got it from, was that they could remove all the artificial flowers and anything that was unsightly.
cause if there's anything on here, I didn't see it personally, but if there's
It's on
anything that says
C.
unsightly, I would take off unsightly, cause
It's 61414C,
61414C decorations all over.
halfway through that paragraph.
Where is it?
I don't see unsightly.
Okay, I see it now.
It does give some definitions. I know that's one that Christie has mentioned that becomes somewhat difficult to,
Yeah,
one person's unsightly may not be another.
yeah, like
So-
if it's, you know,
But I-
grandpa's favorite shirt and it's all worn and and then you go and throw it away, you know, and I know we've got the rules and we're gonna post them and people need to follow those, but it's sometimes hard to follow a rule. And I just feel like that would be hard if we're like, well, it was unsightly, so we tossed it, you know, like I would just take that out. Like I would just say,
Yes, but at the same time,
Faded,
we have
worn, or
the
weathered.
responsibility to.
faded, worn,
weathered.
weathered, broken. And just take out unsightly. It's just rude, I think.
Okay. Take out.
What word do you want to use there? What word would we like to use there?
Well, no, I'm fine with faded, worn, weathered,
Unbecoming of
or
the
broken,
cemetery.
after which they'll be removed and disposed of by cemetery personnel.
Bizarre when you go down there. I found a snow globe about that big that was made out of glass sitting there. And I'm looking around at all the people around where I found it. Nobody there seemed to fit that, you know? I mean, Joan Johnson and those guys, just, that wasn't, had a statue of the Madonna in there. And I'm like, but it's made out of glass, so I had to scoop it up. We took it to the front. Audrey's gonna keep it, because obviously it was very expensive, and somebody comes asking for it, they can give it back to them.
But it states right in here,
Right, no
That-
less.
well, no, yes, that too, but it also states that nothing will be kept.
Well,
Once removed, it will not be saved.
we're having a moment of forgiveness there, so,
We have a storage shed for that.
well, they were taking stuff off and throwing them in that Connex, everything. We went to a young man's grave that's down there, and his mother lives in Salt Lake now. And all of the stuff that she put on the hook was just hammered. So I pulled it all off. We threw that away. Now, and I personally told them that that's what we did so they could come back out and redo it, so.
One of the things I wanted to ask for the reasoning was on 6-1-14C3 exceptions. Why are we moving that to? Are we moving it to Thursday or we're moving it to Friday?
Thursday.
That is,
Which
I talked to Christie about that one. Before it was on Friday, you could go in and do it. But we felt like that was, if we gave them Thursday, that would give them an extra day for Memorial Day.
Okay,
they're
I
leaving
like
town.
Thursday better than Friday. Okay,
Okay,
just making sure.
okay. Just gives them an extra day to decorate.
Well, and sometimes people leave out of town and they want to still make sure that they.
That's right. Any more suggestions? What we don't want is glass and plastic things and, you know, and the committee that has been willing to sign up and be part of that will be able to go down and help police that a little bit for Christie, so she's not on there. There was one grave, stuff was in there. This was in late August, still had Christmas stuff. And it was unsightly. No, I said, that's unsightly. And one of the guys says, no, I don't believe that, or you should put that back. And I says, no. I mean, it was ragged looking. And I says, we can call the family and let them know, but we're gonna remove it. So.
On a
Somebody
side
has to make a
note,
decision.
yeah, I know they were trying to find people like that had family members in those areas and then kind of adopt the cemetery plot, like a area. Have they found people to fill most of those
They
spots?
signed up during the day of service.
Right,
There was a lot of people that signed up.
okay.
Didn't they?
Well, and I would say we just need to make sure, you know, with these new things that we really get that information out well ahead of time and just keep putting it out there. You can't just do it once. You have to just keep, hey, remember those decorations need to be cleaned up by this time. Hey, remember, and like in as many avenues as you can, because that's going to be the key to this. Is just communication and making sure people are aware. So then I'll go pick up Grandpa's old faded shirt before it gets thrown away.
Well, and I think if you have areas that people have adopted, you know, to help care for, if it's in an area where their family is, they have family members buried in that area, they're more likely to know who might have placed things there and can communicate that with them.
Yeah, and just make sure we're making sure it's all equal across the board, like, so it's not, well, this section, we're gonna let this go, cause, you know, but this section, we're, you know, we just wanna make sure that these are the rules, it applies across the board. Because the minute you make an exception for one person, it totally destroys the whole point.
One of the biggest things is to make sure it doesn't interfere with the sprinklers, with the safety of people down there or the people that are doing the maintenance on it. We had one person who put a 4x8 piece of plywood up, painted green. Well, most sprinklers could work anywhere near it. Okay, that stopped everything. So everybody went on a big fuss to make a big deal about that. You can walk through and using this as a guide, you can say that is inappropriate and have it moved. Shouldn't make a rule just to yell at one person.
This might be, I just think we should think of all things, but it says with holidays that they can be removed and disposed of by cemetery personnel no earlier than 7 days following such a holiday. Oh, excuse me. Is there something that we should maybe discuss with a birthday? And I don't know, I just want to make sure everything is in here appropriately. Especially I think a younger person or someone, even an older person who, you know, the first few years, I think that that's something
Like
that,
birthday or anniversary of their deaths or.
yes, and that's, so I don't know, I just want to
Does
make
that count
sure.
as a holiday, I guess, or
It is.
Yeah,
in that? Do we need to word that then?
Rhett, you're smiling like this is ridiculous. You think it's ridiculous?
Not necessarily. I mean, I can think of one particular individual who got a fresh Diet Coke on their grave for the first 2 years after they passed away, right? Every time I went down the cemetery, there was a cold Diet Coke sitting on that. And that meant something to them, right?
Right.
So,
The beer one was the greatest though.
Cause could you just add that, you know, it applies to like anniversaries, birthdays, special occasions. It stays for 7 days and then you need to.
The hard thing is,
Yeah,
is
that's
that's gonna be
tricky.
super hard to police.
Yeah,
Like, I
that's
think that's the
true.
hard thing.
As long
I
as
think the intent and purpose of the middle ground there is there are some cemeteries that are as rigid as everything's gone. And I think I don't know if that's the answer. You know, I don't think that's the answer for Grantsville. I mean, if I would want family members to bring me a Mountain Dew if that were the case. So, even if it was there just for a day until they mowed the lawn and threw it away. I don't know. I think
Just
this
don't
is,
even touch it.
I
Just
think it's good to,
Just
if they set them on the headstones, nobody messes with them, you guys.
yeah.
Little boy that has his grandma and his mom takes cars down there, little matchbook cars, and the kids play with them.
Yeah. I weed eated a couple of them out of the weeds when we were there that day. So I can see why they're concerned about them. Is
Yeah.
you run over one of those with the mower and it's a
Yeah.
projectile to
Projectile.
danger. So, or a broken glass and you're there for a funeral and you step on some and cut your feet open. I think we have a duty to make sure that it's a safe place for our workers and for the people that visit it. So,
I think we have some good middle ground here.
Yeah,
I really do.
good.
Okay. You happy with it? Just need a motion, you guys. Include your changes. Let's get this done.
Sure. I move that we approve ordinance 2025-42, amending chapter 6 of the Grantsville City Municipal Code regarding cemetery regulations with the edits that we've noted in the discussion.
There were 3 specific, right?
Yeah, let's say, so changing the definition of the sexton to a person designated by the city manager.
Removing the designee from,
Removing the designee from where it says city manager or designee. There's only one spot that it says that. And then the third was,
The current citizens.
and adding current citizen or previous or whatever it says, but adding a current citizen or
former.
former citizen. Yes.
Okay.
Those are the biggest, and then just the little like clerical things.
Okay. An motion. Want to second it?
Jolene, you didn't mention the unsightly. Do you want that?
Oh, and taking out the word unsightly. So that fourth, yes, I would like to include that in my thing. So it could just say those 3 things, faded, worn, and whatever else is said, but take out unsightly.
And infants under 3.
What?
Infants under 3.
Well, that's already on.
That was already on. Yep. Okay, very good. Okay,
Now that's my motion.
got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks. Okay. Council reports.
Start with me. I don't have anything since last meeting other than,
No mosquitoes?
no, yeah, we have those meetings. This, I can't believe I'm the one suggesting this, but from time to time, it's been brought up that try to think of ways to communicate with the citizens of Grantsville. One I didn't like was going on Facebook and giving a summary of the council meetings. I didn't like that, but because it's all here and to credit, in my opinion, the last 2 city council meetings have been the most effective meetings we've ever had. I just feel like the knowledge, the questions, if people have questions, they can go to those meetings. But maybe start thinking about this. It was suggested that we use AI to summarize the meetings and post the summary. A lot of companies are now using AI to summarize their meetings and send them out to the company. I just used it to write a little couple paragraphs and it was amazing. I had to dumb it down so it sounded like Jeff Williams. But it literally might be an idea. It's out there. As companies are starting to use it. But if AI would summarize our meetings and we could post that, that might be a way to communicate with our citizens. Think about it.
Can I add something? Can I add something to that? Cause I agree with that. The search capabilities of what like if you're wanting to find something within, I know all of our meetings are in there and they're documented in the format they're in, but being able to have the search capacity to go back and had a question regarding, I don't know, land use on this particular development and using AI to search that. I know this is, it's new in our industry as well. And so, and there's a lot of dangers to it because some of the stuff is not, that it produces is not exactly accurate. So it, and cannot be, and is not accurate. So I don't know where that sits from a legal perspective, but yeah, I like where that.
It was just
Office
suggested as a way to
Yeah.
post. So just, I think it's something we just think about.
Our
But
new website will have a curated search, which we're paying extra for, that will do better at pulling up things from our website rather than it just pulls up anything right now from anything on the web. But yeah, the AI search is actually really nice, but we didn't pay for that one for the website, but yeah, Layton, like their councilwoman Bettina, can't remember her last name, but the city generates an AI summary right after the meeting. And so then the next day, as a councilwoman, she reposts that and then tells that's who I've been trying to model after her, like post what she voted for and why. But she's said thank you to the city of Layton for doing this summary of the meeting so that she could do that every week. I was like, that would be nice.
So the program that we use is Read AI Assistant. So you can just assign that particular, just look it up, Read AI Assistant, and you can actually assign it to every virtual meeting that you attend. So anytime you have a virtual meeting, you allow it to join the meeting, and then that AI assistant goes in and takes notes and then summarizes everything and posts it afterwards in an email form. So I mean, you could control that, what comes back, and maybe just, you or the city recorder verifies it and then posts it online and makes it available for the citizens.
Yeah, we
They
can
see it.
absolutely do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
just might be a way for us to be more transparent. But I mean, I think the meetings have been excellent. I know they're available, but
And you want that aside from the minutes, because I guess that's kind of what the minutes are there. You want that, and then an aside, you're still in like a comprehensive summary or more of like a paragraph type summary?
Depending upon the length of the meeting is dependent upon how long the summary is.
So like.
And it
each
would not
item on-
replace, don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
it's
don't
not gonna replace the approved minutes.
Right.
It's just a way for individuals to be able to get on and look without having to, listen to the whole meeting.
Do you want it to be like who voted for what, or just like it was unanimously approved?
It will tell you what it will. put
I'm
in
just
there.
asking, do you want that kind of detail on it?
I don't know that I think we maybe just, we're tired enough tonight, but maybe we just play around with it. It's out there. It's
I think it's good.
popular right now.
No,
I'm
absolutely.
sure we should be on the cutting edge.
Right,
I don't know that
right.
we should be the first
Right.
To guinea
early
pig.
adopters. but
Right.
If there are some other municipalities that have had great success with certain programs, and I'll be happy to take a look at it. See
Yeah.
whether
I wanna
there's
just play around
legal
with it.
issues that may arise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are issues that, is with closed sessions, we make sure that there aren't any transcribed.
Right.
Depending upon what we talk about.
There's-
Yeah.
certain things that we want to make sure are, anytime we create a record, we may be in the position where at some point we're asked to certify that that's a true and accurate version of the video. So there's certain things to look at. It's a great idea.
We'll work. Okay.
Look into it.
Is that it?
I'm done. Yep.
Titus?
Just getting ready for the Christmas trees to go back in the pots for the year. Hopefully the lights will be more successful than they were last year, because that was kind of a fail. But trying to do some different things with that. I think that the Veterans Breakfast turned out really well, so good job, Jolene, on that.
Thanks to all you guys for
It was
helping.
very, very nice. And the people that donated all the time for the quilts and all those things, I just thought that was phenomenal, so.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else tonight.
I don't have anything new since our last meeting being gone for family wedding. But I was saddened to miss that that breakfast. I got to follow it on Facebook. I just want to say thanks for everybody that's a neat thing that's done, and appreciate the city for doing that, and the Veterans Committee and everyone else. Awesome people in our community. That's all I got.
I did want to, going off of what Jeff said, I did want to give compliments to the city on our improved social media. Like, I have seen a huge difference. Like, we have a better presence on social media, and I really appreciate that. And I think the community really appreciates that. So keep going down that path.
Absolutely.
And the website really is so close. I just gotta give them because we've got the curated search done now. And I just gotta give them the site map for it, and then we can be close to done. Youth Council, they're doing their book drive, and we're getting ready to decorate our tree for the Festival of Trees. We probably, and we're also gonna do some wreaths for the Festival of Wreaths to help the old Grantsville church. And then also, I don't know if you guys have seen, there's 2 that I know of, food pantries that have sprung up and are doing a lot of really good things. And I want to compliment those community members for the work that they're doing, because they're doing amazing things and collecting and just trying to serve our community members in time of need. They are, just to kind of put it out there, in the universe, to hopefully maybe something will happen, because it's something for 4 years now that I've been trying to kind of figure out, but it never did. But to have some sort of place where Grantsville citizens could get resources like food or clothing. One of my youth council girls last year or 2 years ago was a teen mom, and she tried to start something for young parents to be able to get baby supplies and things, but then she went off and went to college and all that kind of stuff. So we weren't able to keep it going, but we've talked about, even if the city wanted to look into maybe someday a mobile trailer or a truck that would have like food trucks. They have refrigerators and stuff that would be able to hold cold foods and be able to set up in different locations, because it's just hard to find a location that's set in place. So anyway, just something to be thinking about, because as they've been working on these food pantries, they've had people approach them about, Grantsville City having a permanent food pantry indoor, and possibly helping them find some funding for that. So something to kind of put on your mind and your horizons. Yeah, I think that's all that I can think of.
So So we met as a library board after our last meeting. I asked them if they had anything for me to take back to this group, and they did not. So that's on the rails and going well. Historic preservation is this week on Wednesday. We'll have a full committee there, which will be great because we've added a couple new members. So super excited about that. And then planning and zoning is tomorrow. And we have a joint work meeting, just a reminder, joint work meeting at 6 p.m. here in this room with the planning and zoning. And we will have the ombudsman here to do some training on conditional use permits. Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, the day, Saturday after Thanksgiving, we have the light parade. You guys want to come and be part of that? That's a lot of fun. Dress warm.
Warmer than you think.
So warm weather we've had is not so bad, but we'll probably that being really cold that particular night. So if you come down, you can ride with Santa on the back there and wave to people. Okay. All right. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Appreciate you all for everything you do. And
anything on the opening of the road you'd like to?
Thursday. We're going to open it Thursday, tentatively. I'll let you guys all know tomorrow for sure. We're putting up the signage, the speed limit signs, and a few things. Okay.
I'm gonna try and nudge him for Wednesday, but they said Thursday today.
So we can get that done sooner. We'll just open it up.
I think for clarity's sake, just give the detail on the road that you're talking about, I guess.
Matthews Lane.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Matthews Lane. The curb and gutter is in, the asphalt's down.
Right.
It's been lined and striped. They're putting up the signage. It's a very nice road. Okay.
Finishing the ribbon cutting on Durfee.
What's that?
They're finishing the ribbon cutting on Durfee as well.
Yeah.
Along the residence on that south side.
Yeah, and the curbs that's along there, that's finished, and that we need to make sure that the water runs into somewhere and not into their driveway. So, and they're working on that, okay? And if, you know, the other option for those people, if they don't, that doesn't work, is they have to have high back curb. And it's on their deed, that they're gonna be the ones who pay for it. They haven't had to pay for the sidewalk, but the curb and gutter, if it gets put in, unless we find a grant for it, is on them, okay? So, so there's a lot of good things happening, and we're in a good place. So you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving, and for those who are going to the comment was made about the moving the meeting. We gave them plenty of notice.
Well, and obviously the reason the meeting was moved is because of a conference that's being held in Salt Lake City,
A national
a national.
conference. Yeah. And so, you know, I just get a funny, people think we're absolutely stupid and just irritating. I'm tired and we'll just go by that, okay? So, just need a motion to adjourn. No closed session.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah, I just realized that I won't be there tomorrow. I'm sorry that I said I would.
Yes.
I've got a full department. And I'm not.